If you're tired of lifting your bike up into the back of your truck or trying to cram it in the back of your SUV or even putting it on the roof of your car, luckily the folks over at XtraEzzy came up with a solution. I've been wanting to try out one of these bike racks for a while now, so luckily I got this bike rack sent to me to make a video about. All right, let me go ahead and show you how I set this thing up here. It's just got a little pin on here. You pull that off, and then you can raise this up here. Then you can put this pin in here. To lock it into place there. And then you can tighten this down here. Now you got the bike held into place. And you got another clamp on here too for another bike. So yeah, this thing's pretty nice. All right, let me go ahead and show you how I put this thing together. I got everything laid out here on my workbench. Got some other parts over here on this table here. And here's the instructions here for step one. We're going to put together the frame right there. And I got some wrenches here. These are 13 millimeters here. And then this one here is 14 millimeters. And then this one here is 17 millimeters. And so we'll see if that works for what I got here. I just went and put these in here like this. Found the ones that fit. So not too precise there, but should be good enough there for it all to be put together. So for the first step here, we got 4 of those bolts and 8 of those bolts. So I got those lined up right here. I put the rack upside down so that I could screw these bolts in here. The smaller ones went on the sides, and then the bigger ones went on the middle part where that's a little bit longer there. So that was step one there. And then it tells you which ones go in here, the S1 and the S2s there. The S1 was the bigger one. And then there's also this piece here that I need to get out, this D piece with those things in it there. So that would be these right here. And then those bolts right down there. Here's the parts that I need for step 2 here. We got the S4, the S5, and the S6 bolts there. So I got all those bolts laid out, and then I got the brackets there. That's the brackets here. And then we need this big piece here, which is this one right here. That piece will go in the middle there. So I think I'll keep it upside down just to get started, and then I'll flip it over. This part right here will line up with these holes here. This one didn't look like it's punched out, so I'm just going to go ahead and tap that one out there, because this longer bolt needs to go through there to be screwed on both ends. I'm just going to use a little hammer there to tap that out. It just came right out there, so that was no big deal. So this should line up in here like this, where these holes you could see through them there. And this hole here you could see through. Maybe we'll try this side here. There you go. So you can see through the holes there, and then that way you know you're lined up. And then we can put that big bolt through here. I put it up on its side here on the bench. And I got all the bolts in there. I need one more up here, I think. I'm missing one there. Maybe not. Maybe those are the pins for the hitch there. All right, so I got these 4 in here. I just need to tighten them up. And I got this one over in here. So that's what it should look like there. With that middle piece right in here like this. Okay, this is how this should look here with the big bracket on the outside and the little one on the inside. If you're having trouble getting the holes to line up here, so you can see if you're having trouble getting the holes to line up there, you could kind of figure to push them in there. If you can't do that, one trick you can do here is you can pull this out a little bit right here, and then when you go to fit these in here, you get that to line up there to where it comes out the other side there. And then when you push this in, now you got all your bolts in there. Here's how it should look at this point here. After we got these brackets on here and all these bolts on here, this is connected up here at the top, and then we got all these bolts, and then we got this big frame piece here in the middle there, and then that's what will connect to the trailer hitch there. There's that big piece right there. And now we're on to step 3, the frame bar there that goes in the middle, the adjustable frame bar. For step 3 here, we're going to put the adjustable arm in there. And so we'll need these little pins right here to go in there, and we'll need the bar there. So here's the bar here. It's rounded on the end there so that it can pivot. And that way it can raise up like that. So that's pretty nice. Rests in there, and then here's the hardware for it. This one will be screwed in down here, and then this will be the pin that you take in and out to adjust it. This one also had another little piece there that didn't get popped out, so you could pop it out with a screwdriver or just with a little hammer there. Kind of a small hole there, so it's hard to get out with, even with that little hammer, but came out with the screwdriver there. So now that you got the 2 holes in there, then you'll be able to put it together in here. Flip it over like that though. I got this piece right here put on. You take this pin out, and then you can raise it up here, and it's got the little pin there. It's a little tricky to go in, but if you put it on the top like that right there, then it slides right in there. And then you could take the little pin there, and then you got that locked up here. And then when you put your bike in here, you can put these on here like this. These clamps right here are adjustable, and then you could just put them over the top of the bike there. So that's pretty nice. And then when you're done with it and you don't want to use the rack part right here, you just take the pin out. And then like I said with this right here, it needs to face up in order to come out. And then you could just put this down here like that. All right, now step 4 is the trailer hitch. So I'm gonna put the trailer hitch on here. We got the big trailer hitch part right there. And then we got the, looks like the pins for it. And then we got an S11 and an S12. And then there's the, I saw it somewhere on here. I know that we got this balancing plate right here. All right, here the rack is. It's all finished now. I got the trailer hitch on here. I got this bolt screwed in right here with that nut on there, and then that bolt over there. I used this one here. This was a 3/4 inch wrench, and I used that on here to hold it in place while I was tightening it up. And then I used a 19 millimeter for the socket over here to tighten that up there. There's a few parts left over here. We got the stickers to put on, and then here's the hardware there for the stabilizing bar, and then there's the bolt and nut that goes into the pin. That would go into here into the trailer hitch there. And then here's these screws right here, these nuts right here, and this is for the luggage rack. When you put this on the side here for the luggage rack, and then there's the straps there. And then this thing here's got a pin in it right here. You just take this pin out. And then you can raise that up there and adjust it to hold the bikes in place. And here's what the wheel rack looks like here with these on here. These are adjustable on here. You can tighten these up to where you want them. I need to tighten these screws up here a little bit though, and then that way these will be in place here. There's how it looks there on the back of the truck. I got it folded up here. You can use the bolt that came with it, the nut and bolt that came with it, to secure it to your trailer hitch, or you can use your pin that you use. This is the one that I used to secure mine. It's just a regular pin there, but it has a lock on it here. And then to open it up here, you just pull this little pin out here on this side. And then you can fold it down there like that, and you just put your pin back in. There it is, all set up here. I just lowered it down there, got the pin in here. And then I got this pin in here. And like I said, you could use this one if you wanted to there to attach it there really secure, but I just used the pin that I have. So yeah, not only is this bike rack a great way to store your bike, it's also a great way to store all kinds of stuff. So yeah, this thing's pretty nice.